guys, welcome back to Plum Sparkles. I know I'm wearing a ridiculous Christmas sweater right now, but I was doing Christmas stuff around the house, and I'm not gonna change into the shirt that goes with this book just for this video, so you're gonna have to deal with this ridiculousness. At least for this part of the video. I might have to film this in parts, so I apologize. But anyways, today we're talking about Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. I am about halfway through this. I'm on chapter 21, so that's pretty much halfway through the book, right? So this is part 1 of my Fourth Wing review. Once I finish the book, we will come back and do the second half and review part 2. So yeah, Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. I'll probably be putting images up throughout this video, so you guys can see what the characters looks like according to the fan art, so this review can go on a little bit easier. So I will say that I am not the best at in-depth reviews, but I am trying, so let's hope that this is more in-depth than it usually is with me. So we are set in the kingdom of Navarre. I should show you the map, actually. It's starting off really well, isn't it? So, how do I show you this? So this is the map of the continent, and the kingdom that we are set on is a kingdom called Navarre, and the neighboring kingdom is called Poromiel, which is the kingdom that Navarre is at war with. Poromiel mainly focuses on griffins, while Navarre has dragons. And people in Navarre ride dragons versus people in Poromiel ride the griffins. So that's pretty much all you need to know about the two countries. In Navarre, there is this war college called Basgiath War College, and at a certain age, everyone in Navarre gets conscripted to Basgiath War College to perform a serviceable task for the kingdom. In Basgiath, you can either be a healer, a scribe, or you can be a dragon rider, which is the most elite class of people. They are at the top of the social hierarchy and political hierarchy. Let me read you the synopsis of the book so you can get a good idea of what the book's about. 20-year-old Violet Sorengil, supposed to enter the Scribe Quadrant, living a quiet life among books and history. Now, the commanding general, also known as her tough as Talon's mother, has ordered Violet to join the hundreds of cadets striving to become the elite of Navarre, dragon riders. But when you're smaller than everyone else and your body is brittle, death is only a heartbeat away, because dragons don't respond to fragile humans, they incinerate them. With fewer dragons willing to bond than cadets, most would kill Violet to better their own chances of success. The rest would kill her just for being her mother's daughter, like Zayn Ryerson, the most powerful and ruthless wind leader in the Riders Quadrant. She'll need every edge her wits can give her just to see the next sunrise. Yet, with every day that passes, the war outside grows more deadly, the kingdom's protective wards are failing, and the death toll continues to rise. Even worse, Violet begins to suspect leadership is hiding a terrible secret. Friends, enemies, lovers. Everyone at Basgiath War College has an agenda, because once you enter, there are only two ways out. Graduate or die. So that is the synopsis of Fourth Wing, in case you haven't already been oversaturated with this book everywhere you look like I have. That is what the book is advertised to be about. So now we're going to go into like the review section of it. So like I said, our main character is Violet Sorengil, and her father wanted her to be a scribe, but then he passes away and her mother demands that she goes into the Dragon Riders Quadrant. So that's what she does, because her mother is in command of Basgiath War College and she can't really say no, even though she really wants to be a scribe. So in order to even get to Basgiath War College, you need to cross this thing called the parapet, which is like a giant balance beam across a giant ravine up in the mountains where it's really windy. So most cadets honestly just die trying to get to the college and crossing the parapet. Which there's a point to all that. They're trying to ward out the weak ones from like the strong ones, so they know who to send into battle. Because the people that pass Basgiath War College are essentially getting trained to go into war, basically, since it's a war college. So she is about to cross the parapet, and she meets her childhood best friend there, who is Dane Atos. I believe that's how you pronounce it. And they are like childhood best friends / lovers. But we're going to talk about Dane later in the video and how I feel about him. She also meets her mortal enemy, Xaden Ryerson, which mortal enemy in quotation marks. We're going to get there later. So she meets him, and the reason why they are supposed to be enemies is that Xaden's father led the rebellion that was happening a long time ago, and therefore Violet's mom killed Xaden's father, and so therefore they have this like family history beef going on, so they're supposed to hate each other. So that's the setup going into this, and Violet thinks that Xaden is going to kill her, which obviously he's not going to kill her, because if you read between the lines of this, it's very clear that he's in love with her. Which when she sees him, she's like, oh my gosh, I'm in love with this man, like instantly. It's marketed as enemies to lovers, but this is more like insta-love, to be honest, which I personally don't mind, but if you don't like insta-love, you might not like this. This is not enemies to lovers at all. This is insta-love, okay? So, there's that. So she starts walking across the parapet, and then there's this guy who is named Jack Barlow, who I just imagine as Draco Malfoy from Harry Potter, because that's literally his character. He's just a rip-off of Draco Malfoy, and I love that, because I love Draco. He's my man. I love Draco. I don't care what anyone says. I love him. So I was really enjoying reading about Jack. Because of that, so he tries to shove Violet off the parapet, but is unsuccessful, and she puts a knife to his chest and is like, you better stay away from me. And so then she gets to Basgiath War College, and she has to train on hand-to-hand combat in these like gym sparring matches. So basically two cadets or more will fight each other in hand-to-hand combat, and as the year progresses they will start using weapons. And this is where some really great rep comes into the book, because the main character of Fourth Wind has Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, and so the hand-to-hand combat and whole scenario of a war college is really like a death sentence for her, because obviously her bones are really fragile and she's not good at like exercise and stuff like that. So I've never really seen that type of representation in a book before, so that's pretty cool. I was very surprised and excited to read that. And this is where the difference between Dane and Xaden becomes really obvious, because Dane really wants to protect her, and he kind of is holding her back from learning anything, because he wants to kind of like shelter her and not let her learn anything, because he wants to get her out of the Writer's Quadrant and try to take her away to the Scribe Quadrant, even though that's not possible. And she keeps telling him over again, no, I don't want to do that. I can't do that. I'm going to stay in the Writer's Quadrant. She keeps saying no over and over again, but he keeps insisting that he knows what's best for her. We don't like Dane on this channel. I'm just going to say that right now. We are not Dane fans on this channel. We don't like men who tell women what they can and can't do with their life. He's not a vibe. So, he is also constantly calling her weak, which I'm not a fan of. They're supposed to be best friends, and he thinks of her as like this weak child who can't do anything. So we're not fans of Dane. Versus Xaden, on the other hand, who is always trying to throw her into the action so she can improve and actually survive. And he just actually like really believes in her, and he is, oh my goodness, like he is the most attractive book boyfriend I have ever read about. He is literally the perfect man ever. I love him so much. And there is a scene in here where they're fighting on the mats, and it is the cutest damn thing I have ever read. Like, it's one of the earlier chapters, and like it's so cute. I love it so much. The way Rebecca Yarros writes their relationship is just adorable. They have so much chemistry. I've never read characters with more chemistry than them. They don't have to be even touching. They can just be looking at each other, and the chemistry is so high. So from the very beginning, I pretty much liked Xaden better and knew that he was going to be endgame. I knew that Dane was just in there to have an enemies to lovers with Xaden and Violet, even though that's clearly not the case. Because like I said, this is not enemies to lovers, this is insta-love. Anyway, so Violet starts to get stronger, and now it's time for the gauntlet, which the gauntlet is like it's like a big obstacle course that goes like up the side of a mountain. So they have to go up that in order to get to the flight field, and that's where they will bond with their dragons, is on the flight field. So they practice going on the gauntlet a few times, and she is unsuccessful every single practice, and gets injured a few times. Presentation day, when they are going up the gauntlet for real, she cheats her way up there. Well, cheats. It's implied in the text that she cheats her way up to the top of the flight field, but then it also says in the book that it wasn't actually cheating because of like a loophole in the Dragon Riders Codex. So I'm not really sure if it was cheating or not. I don't think the book was very sure if that was cheating or not, but okay. So she gets up onto the flight field. So more people die on the gauntlet, and then it's time for her to bond to her dragons. So before we go any further with the plot, I just want to say that I haven't really mentioned her friends because they're not very memorable. Her friends, they're just kind of like side characters that occasionally come up to talk to Violet about stuff. But I do want to say that I appreciate the representation of her friends being queer. One of her friends is a person of color. Another one of her friends is bi, which is really fun. So I like that representation. It's nice. I haven't seen a bi character in a book before, so I like that. Thumbs up. So then she goes to bond with her dragons like everyone else, and they start walking around the flight field. And she overhears Jack Barlow talking to his friends about killing this small golden dragon that has been walking around because they see it as a weak link, just like Violet, which is why people want to kill Violet as well. So the gold dragon starts getting attacked, and Violet tries to defend it. And as this battle is going on, Xaden is there trying to like help Violet. He can't do anything, unfortunately, which kind of annoyed me because there's a rule about no intervention on bonding day. So he's trying to like, they're right behind you, tell her verbally what's going on, give her hints and stuff like that. But I was kind of annoyed that he wasn't doing anything, but I mean, that's not really his fault. So then, as they're fighting, Violet stabs one of the guys attacking her, and then Jack books it. He just leaves. which I thought was hilarious. So then, as this battle is going on, the turns out that the golden dragon was a baby, and the parent of the golden dragon walks up and scorches the attackers with fire. So the parent of the golden dragon turns out to be the very rare black dragon, which apparently had said it wasn't willing to bond this year. But since Violet had saved its baby, the black dragon bonded to Violet, and it said, "Get on my back." So Violet gets on the black dragon's back, and they fly to Basgiath, back to Basgiath, into the section where they are going to learn how to ride the dragons. So she goes up to the person who she is supposed to admit her name and her dragon's name to, and as she is saying her dragon's name, which I will not be saying here because I cannot pronounce any of the names in this book hardly, especially not the dragon's names. So she says the name of her dragon, and then the little golden dragon tells Violet to say its name too, because it turns out that Violet has bonded both of the dragons, which has never happened before, and so she does, and then there's this huge argument over whether she can have two dragons or not, which the answer is yes, because obviously humans don't get to decide what dragons can do or not, because they're dragons. So she gets two dragons, and then it turns out that she has bonded the mate, the dragon mate of Xaden's dragon. So that essentially tethers her to Xaden and makes it so that if she dies, Xaden dies too, because there's like a bond between the two of them, the same as there's like a bond between their dragons. So there's kind of like the trope of like soulmates in this book. There's like the soulmate trope, which I really love that trope. So that was cool to see. And so they're like, great, I'm tethered to my worst enemy, which clearly, again, they're not enemies, they're lovers. I don't know why Rebecca is trying to push this enemies to lovers thing, because that's not what it is, but okay. So then Violet gets into a fight with Jack, and she gets really brutally injured in her rib cage, and Xaden is just so amazing in this scene. He takes care of her, and it's just a beautiful scene, absolutely beautiful. And at one point, Violet basically tells Dane to fuck off, which I love, because, like, that's what I've been waiting for the whole book, because, I mean, she says something like, I've bonded two dragons and you still don't believe in me, and then she tells him basically to fuck off, which, yeah, I would too. Like, he's supposed to be her best friend, and he doesn't seem to care about her at all. Also, at one point he says, Xaden asks Dane, would you break the rules to save Violet? And Dane says no. Women and goals, please don't look for a man like this. Don't go after a guy like Dane, please. Please no, for the love of God, don't look for a guy like Dane. And so Xaden and Violet are growing closer, and she and Dane aren't really talking anymore. And now she has two dragons. And that is pretty much where I stopped reading. So we will continue the story in part 2. So I hope you enjoyed this little recap of the first half of Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. just so you know, I also have the sequel, which I will review as well, Iron Flame, which is... This is such a thick book. It's over 600 pages, which... Oh my gosh. And then I got in the mail today the special holiday edition of Fourth Wayne with the sprayed edges. Which this has 2 bonus chapters from Zayden's perspective, which I'm so excited for. That's what it looks like. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.